Hi, hello, and welcome to not turn 9, turn 10 of season 2 of City of Cards. Surprise! Early turn. Gideon, this has been a short one. We had the turn last month delayed into this month, and because of IRL circumstances, this turn is being brought forward. So I think you guys had a grand total of 3 weeks during turn 10. The shortest turn I think we have ever done in our 2 seasons together. So, yes, your illustrious prince is here to delegate the results of the shenanigans, because oh my gosh, is there shenanigans. Conflict between the two hunters and scheming among the undead. So much scheming. So much scheming. It's incredibly exciting, I have to admit. Yes, we've had a meeting within the Giovanni building. Intriguing ideas being posited around. We've had the wrapping up of the introduction between the very new La Sombra and two other kindred from two other factions. We've had a good old Basil talk to a good old Vinnick, attempting to is damage control maybe the right term or phrase? Perhaps not. We shall see. We shall see what the turn of phrase should be. It's an interesting conversation nonetheless. Dr. Isabella over at Dean Winthrop House is having an old friend meet up with her. I wonder what that's all about. And things are lingering both in the supernatural shadows and the regular shadows casted by light. It is a terribly, terribly exciting time, and a time happening so quickly. So much is happening so fast. Giddy Ant, I want to thank you guys for being phenomenal. Not only have you guys gotten in your turns so quickly, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 narratives out of 6 with giving you only 3 days heads up with the turns. Like, that's pretty remarkable, and you guys are so on the ball. I'm looking forward to giving a long time to discuss a perfectly valid bill. There's nothing anyone could say that is disingenuous or maliciously intended by Barrel proposing this bill. And that is indeed happening next month. Next month will be the first time a couple of the new whips may be able to partake in the bill dialogue that happens in the congressional session, and very much will be in the interest of the Congress, perhaps, to see how this goes down. But we shall see that in the future. Oh, a little sneak peek. For now, I have to roll your initiative. And this initiative, because I've had to clarify with this to all the factions because of certain announced intentions and declared interest, this initiative will be very important. Let us see. Oh gosh, I'm excited. Ooh. Button pushed. Okay. Right. So we have the Patriots. A strong 10. A natural 10. Good to see you from the grave. I suppose you're all reporting from the grave, but I understand you, Valis. You've traveled through thick and thin to be here. I give you this salute. The little 0 and a 7. 0? Oh, O and a 7. That's an O, not a 0. We have the red coats, the custodians, and the Gemini League all tied for second place at 7. So yeah, the red coats are at regular 7. The custodians rolled a 4, and they have +3. So they got a 7. And the Gemini League also have a regular 7. Oh. We got the Knights at 4, so they will definitely be at fourth place no matter what. Nope. Disregard that. Oh, they'll be last because I have not. I've ignored the group, which is at 10, which I haven't even got on the board. My greatest apologies to William and Florence, for I have not put you guys on the board, and you indeed have secured second place in initiative. Crazy, I know, right? Considering the custodians have the ridiculous adding, and even with the Knights as +1, they are still at the bottom of this set of player initiatives. The Boston Camarillo rolled a 3. First Light rolled a 7. That may have been good one day, but the Society of St. Label squeaked ahead with an 8. Particularly intriguing considering the conflict going on. Now we got to determine the middle of our turn order. The custodians as the punching bag of the game should go first. All the time. That's definitely an opinion. Let's see what the dice think of your opinion. I'm going to roll 3d10s. The Redcoats will be the die on the left. The Custodians will be the die in the middle. And the Gemini League will be the die on the right. And the order of values will determine the order in this little pocket. So 3d10s. Let us go. Okay, so the Redcoats go third. Custodians go fifth. I can do math. And Gemini go fourth. I wonder if that was jinxed by chat, perhaps. Hey. Just tapping my face in adrenaline, and we haven't even rolled action dice. We shall see what the consequences of this initiative will be. But let us start with everybody's favorite anarchs, not anarchs. Somehow you woke up on time? Well, congratulations. The world has summoned you. Clearly, Gehenna is on the rise, and your ancestors are... Your antediluvian has decided that you must rise, for the stream is happening. And we have the Patriots, who last turn had a remarkable turn of faction objective special actioning. This time, not quite so much, but they do have a new faction objective in play. Spiders in the wall, spiders in the woods, which those shouldn't be possessive now that I read it. We do not quite have a narrative. If the Patriot players want to quickly drum up some fluff explanation in the chat, feel free. But once they do eventually get flavor text, I will read it out because your guys' words deserve all the spotlight. But I will draw attention to the new objective that they have for spiders in the walls, spiders in the words. When you control the Pro Courier domain, complete a 10-tick long-term project clock and roll physical. You can only contribute to this clock whilst you control the Pro Courier domain. Yes, indeed. Pro Courier yet to be claimed by any faction, but a very valuable and controversial domain nonetheless. It is the home for the Ghoul Courier network ran by the Camarillas Couriers. If you take control of it as a faction, you gain +3 initiative, because it's kind of handy to have a touch on all the information flowing about through the city. And because you have a touch on all the information flowing about through the city, it kind of pisses people off. Like, you know, it's all but guaranteed that you're looking through people's letters. Because how dare you? So I wonder what the Patriots want to have with that domain. Spider in the walls, spider in the words. Might give a little sneaky suggestion, but we will soon find out with flavor text. And I'm sure we'll find out through RP. But nonetheless, we have the Patriots' narrative. Quickly, I will do their resources, their rep, their XP. And now we read out what they have written out for me. The plan against the SI worked better than anticipated. Now we have to sit out of the conflict between them and see the results. For one of the first times since the Patriots started to enlarge their territory, there's more going ones on their domain. Than they personally can deal. There's more going on one's domain than they can personally deal with. My apologies. I think I've done a typo there. Instead, they focus on the combat zone while preparing for possible consequences of the bill. Yes, they have gained rep, they have gained XP, and their first action of the turn 10 is to resolve the event at the combat zone, for it is an occult curiosity event at this domain, requiring a physical roll to resolve. None is present on the scene, and once resolved, it will yield 2 rep. I think the Patriots are perhaps pursuing their squeaky clean scrutiny record on the combat zone. It did work particularly hard to maintain that with their last faction objective, a faction objective that they have completed, and yes, the Patriots are among the factions who have completed 2 faction objectives in this game. They might be the only faction to have done so. Let me check a tally, because I'm curious about that, actually. We keep a tally of these things on Discord. Redcoats, no. Patriots, 2. Group 1. Custodian, 0. Knights, 0. Oh no, Gemini League 2. Of course, yes. Because the Gemini League completed their occult renaissance or their occult reconnaissance. I never quite remember which one word they went of those very similar words. Last turn, and we shall see the consequences of that this turn. But first, the resolving of this event. They are rolling physical. It is an occult curiosity event. They have no bonuses, for they do not possess the Giovanni building, and their on-hand fixers only references masquerade breach events. So this is a straight up roll of physical, which is 2 dice. We shall see how they do. Oh, I am blocking. That is a 5. A 5 they have rolled, so only the 1 contempt, which means they gain their 2 rep and that 1 contempt, and they resolve the events at the combat zone. Very, very nice indeed. Ooh, had a little bit of lag there. Don't want to edit things in the incorrect manner. Here we go. No event on the combat zone at this time. Well done to the Patriots. Did any trades happen, or did we go straight to the actions this time? Nope, we went straight to the actions because I have failed to maintain the order of operations in this game. One can say perhaps I was distracted by the initiative. 4 trades did occur, and I have them listed out here. We have trades. 1 rep came from the Knights and went to the group, and 2 of the long-term project ticks went from the group and to the Knights and their Pentecostal church upgrade long-term project clock. And we have an assist this turn, which again was very important to reminder, because the group have chosen to assist the Patriots, and they have chosen to provide the Patriots with 1 coin. So that is 1 coin taken out of their vaults. And because the group, that is Kumu, the little program we have, is having a little bit of a struggle today. It's okay, buddy. You can do this. I have faith in you. Because the group have access to Hancock Tower, an infamous building, but nonetheless a powerful one. They gain +1 coin during the assist another faction. You give them 2 coin in total, only removing 1 coin from your faction sheet. And an additional status increase during the assist another faction action. Your status increases by a total of 2. So not only does this assist go up by 1 this turn, it goes up by 2. So that was 0 to 1, and now 1 to 2. And 2 coin go. 1 coin is pulled from the vaults of the group, and through the Hancock shenanigery of stockholder investments and whatnot, 2 coin are granted to the Patriots. A very powerful assist. The group have the capacity to make strong friends and have something very powerful to bargain with indeed. But well remembered Valis and well remember Kazuma about the details of the assist itself. For their next action is going to be the, let me double check because I'm having a moment of doubt because I know some things were discussed at one point. Action 2. Yep, that is it. No mention of anything else. Cool. Action 2 for the Patriots will be an anticipate needs action, which will there is them producing a boon. We shall see what the value of this boon is then. It's going to be a trivial boon. Only a trivial boon for the Patriots, but a boon nonetheless. I'm going to quickly note down what that boon is in their boon book, because they have now created it. And that is the results of this action. But you, if you can remember in your mental heads, even though there's a lot of misinformation that happens around boon transfers and whatnot, that the Patriots now have a trivial boon that they have. So if you guys would like a trivial boon from the Patriots, you can approach them and say, hey, do you want to make a deal? I want to make a little contract. Hate needs. Do. And the actions were this. And this. Superb. Now we return back to the Patriots. It may not have ended up retrified. An extra turn. It's not. I'm just reading Valis's text. Trade. Group. Gemini. Let me double check the Gemini side of the arrangement. Because you definitely put it in your Discord. Did Gemini put it on there? Looks like I will mention the turn. Appreciate all your patience in this regard, because it was bound to happen for sure. We planned. Okay, I see that it's been talked about. I do not see it confirmed in the Gemini Leagues and of their private channel, nor do I see in your usual channels them outright saying, yes, I see interest expressed by the Gemini League. I don't see the Gemini League saying, yes, we are doing this. Let me double check chat to see if we have any Gemini League players saying yes, that was meant to happen. Gemini trade. Assuming they got around to it. It's fine. The Gemini don't want our coin, of course. Yep. I don't think we have any Gemini players in the chat at the moment. And I have no confirmation on the Gemini side of things that the trade is happening on their end. So, what have I ruled? Because I do have rules written out about trades. Do I have saying on what happens when only one faction? They can freely trade coin, contempt, XP, rep with each other in any amount. Trades occur after assist actions have been performed, but before factions passively generate resources. Both factions must declare the same detailed trades in their actions for the trade to be conducted. Communication is advised. Yes, so without those details being expressed on the other side, the trade is not going to go through. My apologies. Thank you for checking, though. I appreciate making sure I'm right. We want to keep our ducks in order. Apologies that that trade is not going through. Now, right. Okay, so moving back to the actions, we have the Patriots' final action for their cohort to perform. First trade failure. It's bound to happen. Trade relations don't always go smoothly. Indeed, 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 indeed. Now, we're spending 1 coin for Henry's mob. Henry may no longer be in Boston, but his mob certainly still is. Achievement, indeed. Indeed, indeed. We need a list of achievements for all the things to have occurred. Congratulations, guys. You haven't unlocked anything, I'm afraid. But Henry's mob is going to reduce contempt. They are at 4 contempt at the moment. So it is a wise move for them to indeed. And that is a 4, which means they reduce contempt by 2. It is a good wise move for the Patriots to reduce contempt, because that brings them from the 4/5 entanglements bracket down to the 0 to 3 entanglements bracket. So let us see now what their entanglements are. 1 scrutiny to a domain. They have many a domain that this scrutiny can end up in. So let us see where it does. Okay, I'm going to go... that's always annoying. I'm going to go left to right, treat this as 1 level, and then down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. You can see my mouse. Yes, you can. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do do do. Do 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 do. Do do papadi po. 7. Boston Police Headquarters gains 1 scrutiny. I wonder what shenanigans has happened there recently. I know it has been discussed about in the writer's room how a particular conflict between 2 factions occurred, but I know the scene has yet to occur. It's a very exciting proposal, I definitely know. The cohort is still missing. We have 1 more action that can change things. We will reduce contempt. Oh, right. Of course. This is what happens when you bring the turn early, everyone. No, wait. What do you mean? The cohort is still early. We have 1 more action. No, I'm thinking about a different faction. With my oh right. What are you saying? The cohort is still missing. We have 1 more action that can change things. We will reduce contempt. JJ. Elaborate for me, Kazma. The if else. Yes. So your if else was if you have more than 3 contempt, which you had 4 contempt, you wanted to reduce contempt. Is that not what happened? No? Am I mistaken? I'm reading your Discord actions now instead of the actions I've written out. So your first action, event at the combat zone. You rolled a 5. So you gained 1 contempt. You became 4 contempt. Your second action was to anticipate needs. You rolled a 1 and a 3, which means you made a trivial boon, but that doesn't affect contempt anyway. You had 4 contempt. Your if and statement was, if you have more than 3 contempt, you want to reduce contempt. You reduced contempt. My bad. Sorry. No, you know, same. No, don't worry. I perfectly, considering that this turn is early and considering that this turn has been brought forward and things had to go real fast over the past couple of days, it is very valid to make sure that everything is going squeaky clean. I've already missed the assists. I've already missed the trades this turn. There's no... Do not worry. I appreciate your diligence and your due diligence. Anywho, okay. We're okay. So, that means the entanglements is correct. Which means me rolling was correct, which means the police headquarters gaining a scrutiny was correct, which I believe I've done. But what I can do is, oh yes, I can check at the very bottom. You updated Boston Police Headquarters scrutiny to 1 to 3, which is correct. Thank you, Kumu. It's at the bottom here. That's really handy. I can check what the last thing I did. Huzzah. Huzzah. Okay. We're good. We're good. Oh, I can breathe. This adrenaline. There's so much stress. So much stress is about. Just so much stress. It's only fair. I guess I caused you stress by saying early turn. Let's go. Ding dong, ding dong. Okay, we got the group. We got the group. And they have put their long-term project ticks. Those have gone to the knights. They gain 2 rep, filling up their rep bar. And they gain 1 contempt from their Hancock Tower, but then they also lose 1 contempt from the Salter Punk Bar. And now we move on to their actions, which their very first actions was, of course, to assist the Patriots, which they have done. And their second action is for their brand new cohort, Camellia's VIPs, because yes, last turn the group filled out their XP tracker and thus then advanced, and they chose between turns to create a whole new cohort. Now, this is the very first time we've had 2 cohorts in the same faction. And just to clarify, because the rules do have a saying on how many cohort actions you can perform a turn. At the very bottom here, we're fusing a cohort. If a faction can do so, if a faction that's not good grammar at all. What is this? If a faction has, if a faction, my dyslexia is not telling me what the grammar should be, but basically what this is supposed to say, do a number, basically the number of cohort actions. Gosh, we're doing really well this turn. The number of cohort actions that can be performed is equal to the tier. So the number of extra actions equal to their tier if they have a cohort. So basically, because the group, I don't know. I will sit on that. I'm juggling a lot of things, and I think my dyslexia has not got the capacity to work out what exactly the wording I need that to be. But I can ramble a wee bit as opposed to read. programmer. Essentially saying is that you can have as many cohorts as you have equal to the value of your tier, because well, you can have more cohorts than your tier, but you can only use up to your tier in cohorts. So if for whatever reason the group was able to be brought down to tier 1, they would only ever be able to use one of their cohort at a time. If the group moves up to tier 3 and then they advance and unlock an additional cohort, they could have, and they had 3 coin, they could have all 3 of their cohorts perform an action. In this instance, and this is the first time we're going to see this, we have 2 cohorts within the group, and the group are going to spend their first coin to have Camellia's VIPs perform a claim domain action. Seize domain? Is claim domain. Claim domain action on Pleasure Bay. And you probably are going to guess what their third action is going to be this turn. But right now, Pleasure Bay over here, a lovely little South Boston domain that they are, little yacht club that they are taking a hold of. They have 3 ticks left to go. We shall see how well Camellia's VIPs do in securing this asset. No bonus die. They are not spending any coin to do so. There you go. First action for Camellia's VIPs. Florence has definitely brought some value into the group by going a little bit more public here. Hot diggity dang. And the domain of the group expands, and Pleasure Bay is now controlled by the group. Congratulations to the group. Excellent use of this new cohort. Indeed, they are currently they have no edges. No edges has been declared yet, but their flaws is that they are loyal strictly to Florence, and they are scene queens, so they're kind of limited in the people that they can interact. A group called VIPs getting somewhere called Pleasure Bay makes sense. It definitely is in line with the vibes of their names. Oh, baby, indeed. Congratulations, Hug and Kiss. Congratulations. But, as I alluded to earlier, the group are not done, and they have the Irish mob to get up to business. And they are spending coin for the Irish mob to reduce scrutiny at Southampton Yard. Now, Southampton Yard over here is at 4 scrutiny. So the Irish mob are going to do some shenanigans to make it look like just mortal criminal business as opposed to kindred criminal business. They're going to roll their dice. No bonus dice for this one. And another 6. The group know how to delegate. Giddy ants. The group know how to run a tight ship, and that is incredibly in line with the narrative and the track record that is supposed to be set out by the group. The group are folks who make big plans, but they don't commit the crime. They say, hey, we've planned this out. We're going to pick you guys. You get a cut for this, but I get a cut for making the plan. Well done, group, indeed. So I'm assuming the Irish mob are busy in Southampton Yard making all the criminal doings look completely mortal. Not necessarily legit, but mortal. So that the SI look away. Use your bank of luck and be careful. It definitely could be alluding to that. Next month might be a rough one for the groups. But they're not done yet. They are not done yet. They have claimed Pleasure Bay, which is a clock we can remove from their clocks here. They have a full rep bar. They're at low. Their low hold, weak hold. Their final regular action will be to increase hold from weak to strong by spending their rep. I say, group on top, baby. Congratulations. We're sitting at 4, so we're in this 4/5 entanglements bracket. So we shall see what the consequences of this great success will be. 2 scrutiny to a domain. I mean, they've got more domain since last time. In fact, they might quite literally be on top in terms of domain. I think the group quite possibly has the most domain in the game. Let us see. Left to right, top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Indeed. 9 domain, all under the group's sway. Very decent indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this is the first time I'm putting a 9 in this number. 8. That's intriguing. Intriguing for the domain that they have just claimed to get the scrutiny. I suppose it makes sense. All these VIPs showing up to Pleasure Bays from a particular bar might be a little bit questionable. I mean, it is a yacht club. You could probably explain it away, and the scrutiny is only at the very bottom of the clock for scrutiny tracker. But, you know, there's some suspicion being raised nonetheless. And now, congratulations to the group. You have joined among the proud owners of yacht clubs. I think now every faction bar one has access to the waterways. Someone had a celebratory drink. I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's not too radical of a suggestion. But indeed, the group become members of the Yacht Club Society. Now, that brings us to the end of the group's turn. We move on to the Redcoats. Too much VIPing. Not enough vicking. Hey, let's see if you guys can work out that joke. Now we have the Redcoats. Vicking, VIK, you're all kindred, teehee. Maybe explaining the joke makes it less funny. Anywho, we move on to the Redcoats, who gain 1 coin this turn. The Yub Club is clearly correct. Yes, yes, indeed. From now on, we're going to call them Yub Clubs, and the SI will have no idea what we are talking about. Now, the Redcoats have a juicy little narrative, and of course, a juicy quote for me to read out. Who have they selected from? Who of the great minds of our world have they chosen to reference? There is no witness so dreadful, no accuser so terrible as the consequence that dwells in the heart of every man. I don't think that's consequence. Is that coincidence? Conscience? Google, what is this word?
Conscience.
Conscience. Let's try that again. Thank you, Google. There is no witness so dreadful, no accuser so terrible as the conscience that dwells in the heart of every man. Polybus. That makes sense. Conscience does dwell within one. Rough winds might shake the darling buds of May, but this has been a relatively quiet month for the Redcoats, at least to the casual observer. This has been the month where hidden motives and secret plans begin their fruition, and only those of pure intent towards the Redcoats' ideals are really allowed to understand how the pieces begin to move. Sir Humphrey Morris spends the month tightening his grip on the subordinates in the Redcoats, bringing everyone around his own vision and purpose. If the Redcoats are to make progress, then it is not only to be those leading the way that walk to the same tune. Standards must be upheld and expectations met, even for those lesser Redcoats that might feel butt on their neck. Rinaldi, ever the shadow spreading across the city, has continued to inaugurate himself into Boston as a whole. He makes his appearance at even small events, offers a kind ear to those who believe themselves silent, quietens voices that might speak out in opposition, and ties the Redcoats deeper into the politics of the Kyne. After all, someone needs to set the leash for Sir Morris to tighten it. Indeed, indeed. The Redcoats have already obtained their passive +1 coin, and they have their first action in which they wish to spend that coin for the legal office of Harrison and Smith, to resolve an event at the Dumpling House, which is indeed a mortal crime event. Now, Dumpling House is over in Cambridge, and this is a mortal crime event that, once resolved, will yield 3 coin. There is Boston Camarilla present, and it requires some physical. Now, let me double check, because we've had a couple instances where I have not done this correctly, but I want to make sure I've done this correctly. I have indeed. As far as I can read, well, I think I can read, thus far I've been reading, which I hope I've read right words, that is indeed correct. So, it is a physical required roll to resolve this event. It is the worst of their stats. The Redcoats don't often get their own hands dirty. They have stooges to do that for them. They're much more of a social and intellectual bunch. But nonetheless, they're in the Dumpling House and they need to get into these dumplings. Sticky, sticky, sticky dumplings. All this sugar and stuff. And maybe honey. Do you put honey on dumplings? You know, is it clear that I have not partaken in dumplings? That is a 2. Even though they rolled a 4, this is 0 dice, so you take the lowest result. So thus, I was initially going to give them 2 contempt, because that's usually what happens, but because it is a cohort that is resolving this event, and it is a 2, these lawyers, they show up to the Dumpling House and then they're impaired. Their stomachs simply could not handle the dumplings. Gosh, they're just far too fine tough. They're eating way too much good stuff. They need to get some more sugar and fast food within them. Either way, congratulations to the Redcoats. They have managed to make a bargain at 3 coin, if maybe impairing their lawyers along the way somehow. But that is the event resolved and removed from the board, and no scrutiny will be increased at the Dumpling House this turn. Per cohort. Per cohort. And now we move on to their first regular action. It's not an easy place to control at all. I do agree with you, Kazuma. It's very possible I've had dumplings, hug and kiss. My issue is dyslexia, and labels are the bane of my existence. So I possibly had dumplings and just not realized what they're called. But I don't want to be confident, and clearly I'm struggling to describe them in this moment in time. So there you go. I've outed myself. The Redcoats, their first regular action is to resolve another event. This time at the South Street Diner, another food location. The Redcoats are deciding to hit up all the food places. They have a sweet tooth and they're being culinary today. And we have another mortal crime. Oh no, not a mortal crime event. That's not what it says in my notes. Why does it say mortal crime event here? Let me double check. Let me double check the events board. For yes, the events boards, and we've said that if I have failed to type it out properly on the map, I have failed to type it up properly on the map, because the events board, if you all fine folks want to go to the Discord and double check with me, the second event down says that this is a kind politics event, not a mortal crime event. Even though mortal crime is a version of kind politics, it's not that type of kind politics, for this is a kind politics event, which would usually require a mental roll. The kindred citizens are present at this South Street Diner, and it will yield 3 rep and 1 XP. I say usually, but in this instance, the Redcoats have the faction ability, a gentleman's profession. When you perform the resolve event action targeting a kind politics events, always roll social and gain +1 coin. It clearly is a hungry month. hungry month. So the Redcoats are digging in, and they are rolling social. So let us see how well they do at the South Street Diner. What are you ordering, Rinaldi? Player Rob of Rinaldi. What are you ordering at the South Street Diner? I wonder if it has an effect. I mean, you are the lucky Lasombra, as I have heard. What is your lucky order? No. Did I jinx you? Maybe I should have knocked wood. My apologies. Whatever you ordered, it wasn't good. It didn't taste good at all. And the rest of the kindred don't like you because of it. That is 2 more contempt. The waiter probably. Well, there you go. That might be why contempt has risen. Okay. Scandalous indeed. Rinaldi goes in, orders the waiter, and the waiter is like, how dare you? That is rude. I am not on the menu. And contempt rises. But you gain 1 coin, but your vault is full, so that coin goes into the fire. You gain 1 XP. You also gain 3 rep, but 1 of that rep also goes into the fire, possibly for ordering a waiter. And now, not quite the menu I wanted. We remove this event from the board. The group stole the luck from the Redcoats. It may be indeed Snake's Eyes was the roll made. And the lucky Lasombra wasn't so lucky. Oh, no. We're not adding an effect that gives you plus dice. We're removing the event tag. That's what we're doing. Which we still haven't done. Because I haven't clicked the buttons probably. Edit. Minus. Enter. There we go. Breaking news, Rinaldi served temporary ban from South Street Diner after harassing staff service. More at 11. Indeed, how dare you harass the staffers? Leave him alone. I know. Just for eating somewhere. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm sorry. Your streak ended instantly. Didn't even get to become a streak. Not even a lucky streak. It was just a lucky moment. But that is not the end. It's not the end. We're not at the end. We're not at the end of the Redcoats' turn. For they have 1 more. Oh, also 1 more Kind Politics event. The Redcoats have a faction objective to complete 10 Kind Politic events, and that was one of them. In man we do trust. In man we trust. But their third and final action is to increase tier. They are at strong. They are at full rep, and because they're increasing their tier, that means they require an amount of coin. How this usually works is when you're increasing tier, if the rep tracker is full and your hold is strong, you can pay coin equal to the new tier times 2 to increase your tier by 1. And you're looking to go to tier 2. 2 times 2 is 4. You have 4 coin. So thus, you get weak, your tier 2, weak, and you spend all your rep. And the Redcoats join the tier 2 factions. Impressive indeed, but that is not the end, for the Redcoats are sitting on federal reserves. After you perform the increase, hold, or tier action, you get a little bit of a reimbursement. Congratulations to the Redcoats indeed. For those who do not know, the Consulate General is in a lovely, tall, imposing building known as the Massachusetts Federal Reserves. And the Redcoats are fully aware that they sit on the Federal Reserves. Having your haven double as the Federal Reserve of your state has its bonuses. The luxury, the added security, and the money. Obviously, was tightly guarded, controlled, and regulated. It was not to be confused for a bank vault, but instead, if money was to simply be shuffled around, books rewritten, and currency exchanged in cold hard cash, well, if that was the case, good sir, take your fill. All that mattered is that the same amount of dollars is in as the last time someone decided to check, and ironically, those someones were always too easily influenced by money. Ronaldo's not used to tipping. Maybe. Is going to return come from the surging doubling prices? Maybe indeed. I'm loving the narratives popping up from this turn. It's been delightful. We are sitting on, thanks to Ronaldo's waitress incidents, we're sitting on 5 contempt. So we are in the 4/5 contempt bracket. Let us see what happens as a consequence. 2 more contempt. Ronaldo, what did you do? How much did you harass this waitress? Giddy Aunt. And we are brought to the Gemini League, who last turn completed their faction objective of a cult reconnaissance. I'm pretty sure it's reconnaissance and not renaissance. Ooh. Yes, they completed their I didn't move this down. Oh dear. That is because they have yet to create a new one, because they are only just getting the bonuses for completing this one. They completed a grand total of 10 curiosity events here at Occult Renaissance. Congratulations last turn. And the Gemini League have chosen what they would like to do. Chosen indeed. So they have narrative, and because the Gemini League love a little bit of a poem, kind of like some lyrical narratives sprinkled throughout their turn. We will read it as it props up depending on their actions. So first they gain their XP and their coin, which leads to their very first advancement of this turn. They gain another advancement, fancy on them. And the narrative for their advancement goes: while the Gestalt has been hunting the city, the occult knowledge of the League has been sought out, and our power within the city grows. The Gemini League would like to spend their advancement on gaining 2 crew upgrade points, and crew upgrade points can be spent in this little box here, and they would like to spend it on mastery level 2. They do not have mastery level 2 yet. They will need 1 more crew upgrade box for that, but once they do, and you might get an indication what it is that they may be going for mastery level 1. If we go down here, mastery level 1 is what is required for the mental, physical, and social stats to be upgraded to level 3. And thusly, mastery level 2 crew upgrade is what is required to upgrade the mental, physical, and social stat beyond level 3 to level 4. The Gemini League is actually currently the very first faction to ever unlock Mastery level 1 and then unlock Mental 3. And the Gemini League are now on their way to unlocking Mastery level 2. So maybe they'll be the first faction to unlock Mental level 4 and a Stats level 4. That would be something. But we haven't even gotten to their actions. That was just their very first advancement, and it is indeed relevant for the first action that the Gemini League is looking to perform. Is a faction objective special action, and it is to fill your XP tracker, thus gaining an advancement. I wonder where this is going. The Gemini League fill their crew advancement. They gain an advancement. And the narrative reads, with power comes wealth, and with wealth a knowledge greater than gold. Indeed, Kazuma, they are the brains of the city. They choose again to have 2 crew upgrade points, putting one of those crew upgrades into mastery level 2 and the other one into a small vault. So they've got a larger vault. They can have up to 8 coin. Their second special action has a narrative to go with it too. With gold comes influence, the right words whispered in the right ears. They are choosing their second faction objective special action to gain sway over a non-locked Primogen. And that Primogen is one who has been a very popular Primogen indeed. Hilda McAndrew has a new Patreon. And the Gemini League. Oh, no. Don't take over the domain. Hilda still controls the domain. They simply get sway over her. Gemini League have become a little bit intrigued by art as of late. And the Gemini League are now among those who have sway over Primogen. Indeed. So, we have 2 Primogen with the Custodians, 1 Primogen with the Knights, and 1 Primogen with the Gemini League. There has been a lot of interest in Hilda McAndrews, for her ability is quite a powerful one. Artists of the story grant access to a unique action, change the narrative, spend 6 rep, and reduced your shun level by 1. It is the only way in the game outside of scenarios, which are one-off events that can have unique effects, for factions in this game to reduce their shun level. And the Gemini League now have access to it. Now, I typed out locked basically for the benefit of this turn. The reason is, and I had to clarify this with all the factions because so many factions declared this, so I made sure every faction knew this, is that if another faction had beaten them to swaying Hilda McAndrew, Hilda would be locked until the next Congress turn. Now, the next Congress turn is next turn. Hilda McAndrew will be unlocked by next turn. So next turn, factions can then sway Hilda and pull her away from the Gemini League. But she will be locked for the remainder of this turn. So that is why I've encouraged everyone who was going to go for Hilda to have an if-then statement and have an alternative action backup set up. So we shall see. But now, for now, the Gemini League have access to a Primogen of their own. Maybe that might give an indication of where people are thinking about this bill. For it would be particularly powerful to have Primogen if the bill was passed. I wonder. But we move on to their cohort. Cohort that needs to be named still, and still needs a bit of an identity. But one day, well done indeed to the Gemini League. Well done indeed, making moves in the dark with the powerful faction objective actions. They are weak, so it takes 2 coin to use this cohort. But there's a little narrative that goes with this. Whispered words, redirected eyes, blind spots, open for action. The cohort, which has both the reduced contempt action and the reduced scrutiny action, is to perform the reduced scrutiny action on Boston Harbor. Boston Harbor up here in Somerville. No, Charleston. Somerville is over here. This is Charleston. In Charleston. Which has, at the moment, forced scrutiny. So, the Gemini League are doing their due diligence. Good on them. It does, of course, the reason they are weak is why they had to spend 2 coin for this cohort to roll. But because this is a reduced scrutiny action and the Gemini League have access to the 5 Sisters domain, they get +1 die to this roll. So let us see how well they do. That is a 5. So that is 2 scrutiny removed. So that 4 becomes a 2. But we are not done yet. 4. We haven't even done the regular actions of this faction. In the shadows, action, expansion, a virtuous cycle. Perhaps a vicious cycle, but in this time it's a virtuous cycle. Action 1, their first regular action, will be to claim Boston Harbor. They'll be to Boston Harbor. And that is going to be a 7-tick clock if we measure from the Giovanni building. Let me double check. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, they do have the yacht club straight up. So actually, it would be okay. So if you went from the yacht clubs, 5 ticks goes to Charleston Marina. 7 ticks. 8 ticks. Yeah, 9 ticks. Measuring from the Giovanni building, 4 ticks, 5 ticks, 6 ticks, 7 ticks. It is a 7-tick clock. So, Boston Harbor sees. Ooh, can I? No, not sees. God, you using the term sees throws me off. Claim domain. And it is a 7-tick clock. So we're having an 8-tick and we're filling in the first tick. Not the first 2. Well, actually, you shall see. First tick. But they actually do come into effect for they are using the allot for Salem ability. When performing the claim domain action, you may increase the target domain's scrutiny by 1 and add 1 tick to the targeted claim domain clock. And they wish to do that. So that is their first tick in that. And Boston Harbor might explain why they did a little bit of a reduced scrutiny action there. Goes from 2 now to 3. There you go. So they are going to be rolling their tier, and we shall see how well they do. No bonus die. I don't think they get any bonus die. Do you get any bonus die to claim and domain? No, I don't think so. And they're not spending 2 coin for a bonus die. So we shall see how they do. A 3. That is only 1 tick. Only 1 tick. So we have 5 ticks remaining to claim Boston Harbor. And let me scroll down and double check. Okay. Now, they have their preference written out here of their, because they've given me a lot of variables, and their final action is going to be the league grows, the coven thrives. They're resolving the harrowing gestalt at the Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital. Now, Cthulhu Calling. It was if it's an occult curiosity events, they always roll mental. That doesn't quite matter because it is a mental roll anyway. But the Giovanni building, they gain +1 die to resolving the curiosity type. So their free dice become 4 dice because they get a bonus die. So should go hopefully well. We shall see. Oh no. 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 That is a 2. That is a 2. This turn is indeed nuts. This turn is very, very nuts in terms of the dice roll. So that is 5 XP. That is 2 contempt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because they rolled a 2, that is a 2 additional contempt. Rough indeed. Rough indeed. 4 contempt gained. They are 1 contempt away from increasing their shunned level even further. It's a good thing they picked up Hilda. That's for sure. Oh, all brains, no wisdom. Indeed, indeed, they have pissed off a lot of folks with their claiming that this clearly non-existing Gestalt exists. So we shall see what is their entanglement's going to be. We are definitely on the 6+ contempt bracket. So here we go. And the first, I think we all knew who we all thought would be the first faction to get this, but the first faction to go to shunned level 2 is the Gemini League. 2 contempt gained, and an additional harm goes to the unnamed cohort. It was a massive turn for the Gemini League. Look at the advancements gained. They've made progress on Boston Harbor, but they have gained another. They can indeed fix it. They can begin. They have Hilda, and they can begin to resolve things. But we shall see how that affects things going forward. 2 shunned levels. First time that's happened for a faction. Gemini League are not good people to be friends with at the moment. They're a bad name. They're a bad name in the mouths of Kindred. Their reputation's not strong. Now, speaking of the faction that who has arguably gained the most shunned levels, but remarkably is still only at shunned level 1 because they are squiggly little, have the capacity to wriggle them ways out of disputes and heated waters, the Custodians. Now, do the Custodians have any narrative for me to read? I do not see any narrative for me to read. They gain 1 rep. They gain 1 coin. And they gain 1 XP. Their first action is to perform a disrupt investigation action. An amazing PR team. That is something. You are in chat, McGordon. I'm going to give you an opportunity because we have listed as an alternative action to totally another action that no one could have guessed what your first action was going to be. Absolutely no one. But you can't do that action. So you have an alternative action. That was brought up. The alternative action was brought up recently. And again, you haven't had a lot of time to prepare this, and I'm trying to be fair because I've sprung this turn early on you. That action is to perform a disrupt investigation action. Now, there is no current investigation going into Rivermark's apartment. This action would result in no effect at all. Do you want to quickly message me what you want your alternative action to be, or do you want to just commit to the action rollout? I am trying to honor the fact that for those who were not are not in the Discord, first of all, join us. This is a delightful group of people. These angels, I call them angels. They're all undead vampires sucking blood. Why would I call them angels? I mean, if you're part of the, oh gosh, the Church of His name, Cain, the Church of Cain, you would argue we are fallen angels. So maybe they are. Maybe that's revealed my true beliefs as a kindred. Maybe I'm a follower of the Church of Cain, and I am certain that, like, actually God chose Cain and granted him a blessing, not a curse, and we are all to serve God. Yeah, Sarah's fine. How did you jump to defending Sarah, Zilfer? Why? I'm talking about Cain. Okay, I am going to give you 2 minutes. McGordon, don't want to give you too long to scheme and use the information you have now. 2 minutes from when I send you the message in chat. Let you know. Starting now. Oh, you're typing. Do. Okay, we have a typer. Character, of course. Arthurian Pentecostalism is truly the only faith for kindred. Any other is blasphemy. I have a couple kindred in this game who would claim otherwise. I won't name names. Other than lovely Lilith and lovely Mithras, and those are names that I've named, but they're not names of the kindred in this game. So you don't have anything to worry about. Clearly nothing to worry about. Is there any other beliefs held? Of course there's the Arthurian Pentecostalism. I haven't pronounced that right, have I? Pentecostalism. There's the Mithraites in the Redcoats. There's the Bahari, the one Bahari we have in this game. William in the group determines to be agnostic. I don't think the custodians believe anything. Gemini League believe the dead. This turn is exciting. This is a very exciting turn. Let's go. Games in house. Resolve event. Okay. So, I have been told to resolve the event at Gibson House and to pay the coin for trespassing. So, this is a social event. It's a kindred dispute event. And that means 1 tick to, now I want to see a nice, good, clean fight. Gained by the custodians. They are rolling social. And because of the decisive action faction ability, when you perform either the resolve event or disrupt investigation action, you gain -1 contempt. Oh, I suppose you would have got -1 for the disrupt investigation. Anywho, it's a social roll. Let us see how well you do. Gosh. These dice, man. These dice are not good. Normally you would earn 2 contempt. But the decisive action gives you -1 contempt. You only earn 1 contempt. But boy, do these dice are not doing well. That is 1 rep earned, 1 coin lost, and then given to the group for you have completed resolved an event on their domain, and you are maintaining the status of that faction by paying the tax. And the event is now resolved from the board. Ooh. Huzzah. Anarch Academia is William's religion. Intriguing. Intriguing. The groups do deserve their due. I agree. And the custodians have honored it, in fact. You selected the awful rules for everyone but the group. Maybe I have stacked the dice. Yeah. maybe I've accidentally loaded all the good dice into the group and then I forgot to do the fair thing, which is give you all a single good dice, you know? But we are not done yet, for the custodians still have a second action. And that is to resolve another event. This time at Quinn House. For another kindred dispute is happening at another societal house. This is also requiring a social roll. It yields 2 XP. It is on the Patriots domain, but because... And I still do not understand how this is the case, considering how many stabs in the dark that the Patriots and the Custodians have taken at one another. Because the Patriots and the Custodians are allied. And allied factions do not need to pay. Allies may perform resolve event and hunt actions on allies' domains without having to pay 1 coin to avoid status loss. They do not need to pay that, so no coin needed to be traded to maintain status. It's kind of sneaky, the Custodians, considering how much beef they actually do have with one another. But yeah, so we shall roll the social. Maybe I put the good social dice in this one. I'll pick up these 2. I've changed dice. I've taken the other dice. I've smashed them with a hammer. They've been destroyed because clearly they are not good. So, these are brand new dice. These are going to be good. The exact same rule. Shut the front door. What? I don't think my roll 20 is appreciating that I've made it work twice in 1 month. I think it's protesting, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Utterly brilliant. Okay, usually that would be 2 contempt. Decisive action means it's only 1 contempt. They gain 2 XP and fill their advance tracker. Awesome possum for the Custodians. Do the Custodians know what they want to advance with? Having filled their advance tracker here and now. And we will remove. I don't believe it either. That is frankly remarkable. A remarkable result. A remarkable result. Yeah. Yep, I'm taking these new dice and also setting them on fire. The per weight staff of Boston. Okay, you'll want to talk about it with Pawn about the advancement. Fair enough. Okay, but there you go. We are at 3 contempt, still in the first contempt bracket, so we shall roll your entanglements. It can't get any worse, can it? +1 scrutiny to a domain. Let us see which of the domain or that it is that gets that scrutiny. Okay, it's just 1, isn't it? Yes. Okay, left to right, top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 6. So, I think that makes it the library. Congratulations, library, for becoming more interesting. 2SI. And we move on from the Custodians. Oh, pardon me. Had my stomach. Speaking of all the food chats that we've had this turn and all the diners and such that have been visited. stomach was a little bit rumbly there. We move on to the knights, who gain 1 rep, gain 1 XP, gain 1 contempt, lose 1 contempt, and 1 long-term project tick that is going into their upgrading of the Pentecostal churches. Now, they have a narrative to read out. Oh, and the Duel of Kings and Queens faction ability goes up a tick. The Knights continue to focus on getting the City Hall ready for takeover by the Redcoats and moving the assets there over to Trinity Church for future projects. The scrutiny of City Hall was rising with increased SI threat. A certain thin blood certainly had opinions on that front. The work in the Pentecostal churches continued, with a bit of the help from the group lending a hand, as they prepare for the final phase of finishing the improvements of their home base. Once again, Sarah notes the Gestalt is nearing the outskirts of the Knights' territory again, but the Knights are stretched so thin, and the meeting about it had only recently occurred, which has reminded me that I don't think I removed it from the map, and it was indeed resolved, quite dramatically so, by the Gemini League. So we're going to get that off the board. Get that off the board. There we go. Thank you for the reminder, Knights. Now, their very first action is to perform a claim domain action on none other than Trinity Church. Now, this is, I'm pretty sure, a 6-tick log. No, it's not. So, oh, no, it is. It is. My apologies. 4 ticks, 5 ticks, 6 ticks. A 6-tick clock for a C's, not C's. You've messed my labeling of this. It's stuck in my head now. Claim domain action, 6 ticks, which means they will be rolling their tier. A single die. Come on. I know it's blocked at the moment. Like, we cannot continue this tragic dice rolling spree, okay, guys? Please. What happened to the dice? What has happened to the dice? They have literally all gone to the group. The group have a lot of questions to ask, I imagine. Let's see how sneaky I was. A storyteller, shifting all the blame to one of the factions. I'm a sly guy. Now, action 2 doesn't need much of a roll, for they are going to perform the remove claim action on City Hall, which only requires a single tick. So there's no way, just no way that they'll roll a 6 here, because they don't need to roll a 6 here. It's a 4. That's 2 ticks. But now, City Hall. The domain, long disputed between the Redcoats and the Knights, now is unclaimed once again and ready for claiming. Of course, there's a faction out there that has long said that it belongs to them, but right now it belongs to no one, and anyone could step forward and take hold of the reins that the Knights have chosen to give up. That brings us to the end of the Knights' turn. The Knights are at contempt 0, which means we roll the first bracket of entanglements, and let's gain 1 scrutiny. They've given up a domain, so there is now less domain for them to gain scrutiny on. Left to right, top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We shall see. 4. Chelsea Clocks gains 1 scrutiny. Oh, not quite what I needed. 2 slash. There we go. Now, it brings us to the end of the nights. And on to... Oh, wait, hang on. I closed it as opposed to minimized it. The Society of St. Leopold beat the First Light, didn't they? Yes, they did. The Society of St. Leopold, our very first faction that is currently at conflict this turn. Now, NPC factions usually only get 1 action. There is, of course, an exception to that. And that is... Where have I listed that? I've got that clarified. Yes, here. Each NPC faction can do 1 action unless they are permitted otherwise through an active scenario or they are engaged in a conflict. Then they perform 2 regular actions per turn. These actions can be referred to as regular actions. So, both our SI factions have 2 regular actions to go, but they are indeed in conflict with one another. So it is in their best interest to be taking shots at completing the contend conflict clock. And they have both privately, which is ironic considering it's me who controls both sides of this First Light. But they have chosen in their best interests their conflict goals, which is, of course, from this list here. Both of the SI factions, the First Light and the Society of St. Leopold, have selected 1 of these conflict goals. And if they are the ones to complete their conflict clock first, they are the one to gain their conflict goal. But for those who are not in the know, and this is their very first conflict that they are witnessing, the contend conflict action, which is a simple action. No, it will be a clock action. Can only be 1 of the faction's 2 regular actions. So you cannot spend 2 regular actions on a contend conflict action. You can do a contend conflict action more than once a turn, and that can be through a cohort that has the contend conflict action assigned to it, which is what the group has done with the Irish Mob and was a big reason for why the group won their conflict against the Society of St. Leopold. Or an additional, you can in fact do this up to 3 times or even 4 times depending on how many cohorts and what tier you're at. You can use a boon that has a contend conflict action to do an additional conflict action in a single turn. The Society of St. Leopold currently has neither of those options, and they're doing their first action on the contend conflict clock. So that's a tier roll, and we shall see how well they do. Nope. One tick for the Society of St. Leopold. That is progress, but not a lot of progress. At least the bad luck hasn't ended for the undead. It is also affecting the living. But that is not all for the Society of St. Leopold get their second action, and their second action will be to resolve an event at Club of Odd Volumes. A mortal crime event is occurring at the Club of Odd Volumes. It is requiring a social role. The Society of St. Leopold is present on the scene. If resolved, this event yields 3 XP. The Society of St. Leopold is indeed present on the scene, for they are the one resolving the event, requiring them to roll social, which is, of course, their 0 dice. So, this probably isn't going to go well. Oh, oh, that is so cruel. So cruel. 4. They did roll a 6. Please play the tithe. I wonder if the SI are going to play the tithe to their kindred foes. I wonder. I'll ponder that. We shall discover soon. But because it is a 0 dice, despite them rolling a 6, they roll a 3, which means they gain 2 contempt. And they fill their contempt bar, which would have given them an additional action next turn, but they already have an additional regular action next turn. So this bonus is kind of nullified. So, oh well. But they do get 3 XP, and they are 1 XP from leveling up. The Rivermark's apartment investigation timer goes up by 1 tick. And now, at the end of the Society of St. Leopold's turn... Oh, and by the way, you are correct, Emmer. They resolve the event on the domain of the knights. And no, shockingly, who could believe it? The Society of St. Leopold do not pay the tax. And thus, the status between the Society of St. Leopold and the knights is reduced by 1. Ooh. -1. So that is a -1 between the Society of St. Leopold and the Patriots, the Group, Custodians, the Knights, and the Gemini League. That's the N. Oh, no, not quite yet. We got the entanglements. Oh, okay. Intriguing. Pay shunt level coin to the highest status faction or -1 status with that faction. Well, that's only a few factions. Even more minus statuses. So, oh, that's wrong SI faction. Redcoats and the Gemini League. So it's 50-50 between the Redcoats. Sorry, Redcoats and the Boston Camarilla, not the Gemini League. So a 1, it will be the Redcoats. A 2, it's the Boston Camarilla. It is the Redcoats. So the Society of St. Leopold, because they have no coin, and I don't think they would have an interest in paying coin to the Redcoats, lose -1 status. There is no money to pay you. There's no money. the Society of St. The church has no coin. Not at the moment. The group is +1? No, they're -1. It might be a trick of the eyes. It's not impossible for that. It is small text, to be fair. Redcoats accepting bribes. Intriguing. That is information in and of itself. Fascinating. And we are brought to their foes in this conflict. The Rivermark apartment investigation timer goes up by 1. They have their 8-tick contend conflict clock with St. Leopold. And their very first action is, of course, going to be a contend conflict. Now, they roll 2 dice. And they roll a 5, so that is 2 ticks. This might be a long and bloody conflict, which is probably frustrating for you guys. Well, frustrating or maybe good, because maybe they're occupied as opposed to... We'll see. Who knows? Who knows? But the first light is currently the ones who are ahead in this conflict between the two. Makes sense? First light are the ones that are in the upper position between the Society and St. Leopold. And the Patriots have done a good job at making the Society of St. Leopold pretty convinced that the first light want to just monopolize the vampire hunting business and take them out for good. Finish them off in their weak state. But the first light have a second action that they can perform. And whereas the Society of St. Leopold resolved an event, First Light is going to perform a claim domain action. For they started to claim the Joffrey's Yacht Club a few months ago, and they would like to continue that effort. And that is a 5, 2 ticks, and once again, First Light expand their own mortal domain. They move from 3 domains controlled to 4 domains controlled. And now, no, not all, not every single yacht club, but we've had 2 new members of the Yacht Club, the group, and First Light. Redcoat's lawyers catch Leopold not reporting income accuracy. Leopold claims all wealth in form of tithes exempt from taxes. More at 11. Oh God, indeed. First Light have further expanded their consolidated presence on the board, and they have joined the Yacht Club of factions that now have access to the waterways. Intriguing indeed. Intriguing indeed. Indeed. Now, they are at Contempt 1. I'm going to remove now both of those clocks. And with the investigation now complete, Rivermark Apartments is no longer under investigation and is now just unclaimed. And is once again open for claiming. Because I don't know if you remember, this was briefly claimed by the Patriots before it tipped over into an investigation after things happened and fingers were pointed at one another. We are at the entanglements for First Light. They're at 0 to 3 entanglements. Game 1 Contempt. Simple enough. And we are brought to the Boston Camarilla, who are going to gain 2 XP, 1 coin. Oh, I need to remove the event tag from the oh, it's down here. From Sprawling Hospital. I think there's quite literally only 1 event left. Is there only 1 event left? Because if that's so, that's kind of remarkable that you guys have... Oh, there's 2. There's 1 at American Respiratory Theatre, and then there is 1 at the Charles River Yacht Club. But I think that might be the most events that you guys have ever resolved in a single turn. It is rather impressive. But Hazel's hounds need to do some enforcing. And the most reasons they've been acting as the eyes and resolving things before they spark into it and everything. But there is a decree to enforce, and there is a new individual in the city. A new individual in the city. And this individual is a Lasombra. Some would say it's the first Lasombra we've had in Boston. So the Hounds of Hazel are going to check up on the Redcoats. Oh, my apologies. Kumu has have a little moment, little moment. And with their rivals in the Redcoats, the cohort of the Hazel Hounds are going to perform the Humiliate Rival action to remove 2 coin, I'm pretty sure. Let me check my notes. Indeed. Yes, indeed. If we go to actions, just to remind us of what the Humiliate Rival action is, because there's new players, and this is the first time. Humiliate Rival, roll physical. this instance, it will be roll cohort, because cohorts always roll their own cohort stat. Steal resources from a targeted rival faction. An acting faction gains contempt and XP on their faction sheet by the result. Acting faction selects one option below they would like to steal from the targeted faction. 2 rep, 2 coin, or 1 rep and 1 coin. The selected resources are removed from the targeted faction sheet. This action can only target rival faction and does not affect status. Tax season again. Tax season again. And the hounds are showing up to the redcoats and are asking for their pay. And that is a 5. So 5 is the highest dice rolled. I have a thought. I do have an ability. Do I do it now? Do they want to do it now? Do you want 6 XP? 2 XP? Or just 1 XP? This is a very good question. You roll 2 social. I'm having to decide, because I can do this once a turn. After dice are rolled for an action, you may spend up to 3 rep to increase the value of 1 die by an equal amount. I can do this for this roll, or I can do this for other roll. And I think Robost and Camarilla are going to do it for this roll. So they are spending, they're using the Boston Camarilla and Prince Hazel by Her Excellency's decree. A little fluff, because we love reading out fluff every now and then, faction abilities. Her word is decree in Boston. Her desire is what will ensure the city remains shining upon that hill. And yes, her decree is that 1 rep will be spent. And this 5 will be increased by an equal amount by 1 to a 6, which means that for the humiliate rival action, a 6 was rolled, resources were gained, 2 XP was gained, and only 1 contempt was gained. So 2 coin, and I believe this is the coin that the redcoats gained from that they recomped from their Federal Reserves and is handed over to the Boston Camarilla. Indeed, indeed, indeed. There you go. The 1 million. Looking to kill a hound? We would be happy to help you, then punish you after, as it is our duty. You would also have to punish yourselves. Do you realize that? Okay, now let me double check. So that was 1 contempt gained. That was the rep gain. Did I remember to increase? No, I did not. And also 2 XP gained for the crew for rolling, making the 5 to 6. And we are now, after having done the NPC's faction cohort action. Did I spend the coin? I did not spend the coin. My apologies, because you spent a coin for a cohort. They are doing their regular action, which is to perform the reduce contempt action. Now, that is a social roll. They are spending 2 coin. They kind of knew they were going to have a bit of extra coin in their pocket to have a bonus die. So that is a extra dice to this roll. So 3 dice in total. Let's see how well they do to reduce contempt. That is a 6. So that is 3 contempt removed. And they now are at the 4 out of 5 contempt bracket. Oh, contempt gain? Yeah, the 1 contempt gain was from the 6 of the humiliate rival. Because, you know, humiliate rival stealing resources from others is, you know, it is contemptuous. It's not always seen quite lightly by kindred society. And that brings us... Oh, now the good guys come back. I know, right? I mean, she is the prince. It is the government. It seems only fair. The ivory tower must act. Now, it brings us to the entanglements, which is 4 out of 5 contempt bracket. Gain 2 contempt. Does that make you feel better, Rob? They take away contempt, they gain contempt. You know. And that brings us to the end of quite a dramatic turn. Giddy aunt, guys. Oh, way to make my blood boil. I will remind you of the bill that will be voted on soon and will be discussed in Congress next turn. If it passes, it gives some substantial power to the Primogen votes. If it fails, it gives substantial power to the slander action, but it also gives you substantial rep. The factions that have access to Primogen votes, there is 1 Primogen vote under sway by the Knights, there is 1 Primogen vote under sway by the Gemini League, and there are 2 Primogen votes under swayed by the Custodians. And correct. For the first time in a hot minute, since the aftermath of the society and the group conflict that cost the lives of so many, and we'll have a funeral for them soon that is coming up in RP. For the first time since then, there are no investigations on the board. Like, someone might want to slander the taxman. I mean, who would want to do that? Who would want to do that? It's almost as if it's not a good thing to be an opponent of the government. But yes, I have one final duty to you guys. One final duty. And that is to let you know what turn 11's events are going to be. And that is, no, there is not any... Oh, have I got this? Yep, I think so. Yep. There is no Harrowing Gestalt this turn hunting the grounds. But there's going to be a mortal crime at the American Respiratory Theatre. It provides a trivial boon, and that trivial boon is to increase hold and tier or to slander. There is a decree enforcement event at Carson Beach, giving up XP. A kind politics event at the Five Sisters, yielding 2 rep. A kind politics event at Bunker Hill Monument, yielding 2 XP and 2 rep. An occult curiosity event at South Shore Plaza, 2 XP, 1 rep. A kindred dispute at the Soldier Punk Bar, 2 XP. A mortal crime event at Conley Container Terminal, 1 rep and 3 XP. A kindred dispute event at Sunco Logistics, which is 3 rep. And a decree enforcement event at Camorra Square, which is a major boon for the claim domain action and the ambush cohort action. And that brings us to the end of turn 10. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your spontaneity and your quick action on getting these actions ready for such an early turn. And I hope you enjoy your next turn of RP. And I will see you all in Elysium for a short while. For I pack up tomorrow. And I ship myself out from the Mithras-controlled city of Edinburgh. And I go home. But until next time, when I will be speaking to you from another island, I will see you in Elysium. Farewell, my kindred. Scheme well.